HIPP is not HIPAA, just like SDI is not SSDI. HIPP is the Health Insurance Premium Payment Program. It is a way to have your COBRA payments paid every month as long as you qualify for Medi-Cal, or Medicaid, where I come from. So if you have group insurance, if you're on COBRA and you cannot afford those premiums, but your income is low enough that you would qualify for Medi-Cal, the state has an interest in keeping you on COBRA and would rather pay those monthly premiums than to have you go on Medi-Cal and have to pay for your treatments. It's a lot cheaper for them to pay those COBRA premiums. There are also other organizations out there that will help pay for those COBRA premiums. They just don't tell you about it. I know that I've been told the Kidney Foundation has been known to pay people's COBRA payments. I was told by a social worker at Gilda's Club that that has been done for her. So they're not going to advertise this stuff, but if you ask, or you ask them, do you know of a program? That's how we get our resources too. Next is HIPAA. HIPAA is the Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act. It's an act, but it's confusing because there are several components to the act. So a lot of people think they're talking about, oh, I have a HIPAA plan, my insurance company is HIPAA, but no, your insurance company is still either Blue Cross or whoever you have. HIPAA is the act that covers that. So we're going to talk about the several components that fall under HIPAA. HIPAA deals with guaranteed issue plans. So we're going to talk about what a guaranteed issue plan is. HIPAA addresses pre-existing conditions, pre-existing condition exclusions. Very important. HIPAA was passed to prevent job loss, so people wouldn't feel that they couldn't leave their job because they'd be leaving their health insurance. So we're going to talk about that. And we're going to talk about credible coverage, something else that's addressed under HIPAA. So first, guaranteed issue plans, very important. They come into play after you've exhausted your COBRA. So this is for the person who after 60 days, or within 60 days, elected COBRA. So you went through that qualifying event, whatever it was, divorce, termination, reduction of hours, and now your employer has told you that you can get on COBRA. You have 60 days to do that. So do it, because after you've exhausted COBRA, you don't have to worry about, well, now what am I going to do? I'm done with COBRA, I have a pre-existing condition, and nobody's going to take me on their health insurance. HIPAA was passed to offer these guaranteed issue plans, and they're exactly that, they're guaranteed. So as long as you exhaust your COBRA, if you have the 36 months, you exhaust the 36 months of COBRA, you roll over onto a HIPAA plan. You cannot be eligible for any other type of insurance, Medi-Cal, Medicare, group coverage. So this is a way for you to get insurance when you're not eligible for any other type of insurance, but you took COBRA. And we're going to see why that's important. You have to apply for a HIPAA plan no later than 63 days after exhausting your COBRA. So how do you get onto a HIPAA plan? Department of Managed Healthcare is a luxury in California, because when somebody calls me outside of California, I wish that I had the Department of Managed Healthcare to give them. They will go over each of the HIPAA plans so that you can find out which one is best for you. They're expensive, they run about the same cost as COBRA, but you don't want to just pick one because it's the cheapest and then nothing that you need is in that plan. So you will get, like Aetna, Blue Cross, as long as the health care provider offers an individual plan in the market, they must also then offer a HIPAA plan, because a HIPAA plan is individual insurance. So you're rolling over from your group insurance plan, which was COBRA, with your employer, now onto your own individual plan. So now you're not dealing with what your employer had, that's not the policy that you have anymore, you're getting onto individual insurance. HIPAA also handles credible coverage. So an example of this, if you worked at your job for 4 months and you decide you want to go now someplace else, this job wasn't what I thought it was, I'm going to go here. But that new employer has a 6-month, their health plan has a 6-month pre-existing exclusion period. That means for 6 months, anything that you received treatment for, advice, you just talked to your doctor about it, within the previous 6 months, and that's not because I'm using the 6-month pre-existing exclusion period, that's the look back time, they can deny any coverage for those 6 months during that pre-existing exclusion period. So if you have arthritis and you've been on medication and now you're going to go someplace to this new health plan, this new employer, their plan has a 6-month pre-existing exclusion period, that new health plan does not have to cover anything related to your arthritis for 6 months. After 6 months, you're fully insured, but for those 6 months, you have to figure out what you're going to do. If you are on COBRA, keep your COBRA for the 6 months until your pre-existing exclusion period is up. If you have a supplemental plan, whatever, keep it until the 6 months is up. However, if you worked at that former employer for 4 months, you get to take those 4 months of credible coverage over to your new place of employment and reduce that 6-month pre-existing exclusion period down to 2 months. By law, a health plan cannot have more than a 12-month pre-existing exclusion period. The norm is 6 months. So most people have worked at their former place of employment for more than 12 months. So this doesn't even apply to you. So what we say is after you leave that insurer, after you leave that employer and you're no longer on that insurance plan, you're going to get what's called a letter of credible coverage. And it's going to talk about how they covered you for this amount of time. Keep it. Because if your new insurance plan says, oh, sorry, you're subject to the 6-month pre-existing exclusion period, you now have the letter to show them, well, wait a minute, I had credible coverage for 4 years. I'm not subject to any pre-existing exclusion period. So if you're someone who never got a letter, you can call your insurance company, and I know it can sometimes take a while to get the letter, but they'll send it. All right, so Mr. MIP, Major Risk Medical Insurance Plan. Not every state has a major risk insurance plan, so it's great that California does have this. This is for the person who was laid off or whatever the qualifying event was and didn't elect COBRA within the 60 days, or elected the COBRA and never got onto a HIPAA plan within the 63 days. And now they need insurance and they don't know where to go because every plan is going to deny you. The reason why we call HIPAA plans guaranteed issue plans is because you avoid going back through medical underwriting as long as you keep your credible coverage. So what medical underwriting is, you apply for insurance, that insurance company is going to look to see, do we want to insure this person or are they going to cost us a lot of money? Oh, cancer? That's a lot of money. No, forget it, denied. And they can do that unless you took your COBRA and now you're going to roll over onto a HIPAA plan. It's guaranteed and you avoid medical underwriting. That's why it's guaranteed. You don't have to go back through that process. Mr. MIP is for the person who didn't do that, and now they're being denied because they have a pre-existing pre-existing condition. So as long as you're ineligible for COBRA or CalCOBRA, which you are because you didn't elect it within the 60 days, and you're ineligible for HIPAA, which you are because you didn't elect it within the 63 days, and you can't be eligible for Medi-Cal or Medicare, then you can get onto a Mr. MIP plan. And they're expensive. They look to see where you live, what your income is. And you want to pick the plan that's going to suit you. I know some of them I've seen $1,700 a month, but that's for, that's the most expensive one, actually. A lot of the social workers that I've talked to said that it's about the same amount as COBRA.